of net neutrality by the corporate interest grows louder. 800 million mobile users may soon be paying separate rates for separate sites. Well, the comedy group AIB has already released a video about net neutrality. It has sifted through the jargon for the masses. This video was an instant hit. But curiously, this video posted on YouTube got deleted. Well, there's, remember, currently a move by the telecos, that supposedly independent government organization of TRI, to make things such as Airtel Zero, which break net neutrality, legal. Well, as the telecom biggies fight for dominance, will the government say to us this proposal, which the TRAI is currently considering? Why is it that it may just be making the internet a luxury, not a necessity, a luxury for the rich in India?
Well, it's net neutrality. This concept is being discussed with the this new proposal being there with TRI. Now, what is going to happen as a result of it is that the end user might have to pay a large amount of money because certain websites would be would be charging heavily for any downloads or uploads, and it could also be that certain service providers would be preferred by the broadband companies, and certain websites could not be having that professional treatment because they're not paying the broadband service provider. So what happens as a result of it is the consumer has to bear the burden. The cost differential goes to the consumer. So there would be certain sites, for example, any social media site, one will be surfing video. The upload time or the download time would be dependent on whether the broadband company has any collaboration with the service provider or not. So that is going to affect net neutrality, because internet as a medium, we expect it to be equal. We expect that the service providers and users on the net are given equal freedom. There shouldn't be any discrimination. There should be transparency, no blockaging, and also no discrimination. It's a free platform. After all, any information which goes in packets and IP packets has to be free.
That is the very basis of what internet is all about, is it access. It seems we've lost that audio connection. We'll try and reconnect with China and see a lot of answering that the government must do at this point. If I could come back to you, Ms. Seth, the problem here is, at the end of it, at the bottom line is, it is us, the netizens, who will end up paying more, isn't it?
Yes, we cannot have a tiered system that, okay, for X network, even that is going to be difficult. If it's a multimedia platform, or if it's a messaging website, or it's a VoIP based platform, whether we could have to pay different rates for accessing different services. Now, that's something which is not going to be, in the interest of public or free speech, or rather right to equality in this place. Because when we talk about businesses and getting revenues out of businesses, one can understand the need, but then there should be fair competition, there should be freedom, and there should be clear transparency. Any billing rates will be very difficult to understand which particular site has charged you more, or which particular site is actually download time is there and then that has been given to you for free. So therefore, there needs to be a clear level playing field, which is going to be missing if that's
Absolutely. Do you think it's a misguided notion? Companies, do they really have the right to impose such additional taxes on us?
We have been using internet through their infrastructure. There is a broadband connectivity which they offer. So they may have, from their standpoint, they say that because there are hardly any calls being made, long distance calls, or if you see even domestic calls, there are hardly any calls being made.
And that's the problem, isn't it? They feel that they are missing out on the revenue that they may have made from internets and SMS.
There are two sides to this story. You see, either one could argue that, because they use this particular infrastructure, they ought to have some sort of a profit share in this particular revenue that they generate through all these services. There is a flip side to it. The other side of the argument would be that why? Because simply applications are giving services, and simply use it as a common carrier doesn't give them or entitle them with the right to share the profits which they are getting through their innovations. So they might as well improvise on the quality of services and come up with their own applications. Perhaps compete with them in a fair way than take a share of
a cyber law expert. Shaina, if I could come back to you, you were saying that this proposal, which is currently under consideration by the TRAI, is going to promote competition. How does that happen? Aren't rich websites such as Google, rich e-retailers such as Flipkart going to benefit by strangling the smaller websites and retailers?
No, I think that there could be so many other players who would want to enter this forum, especially if there is some kind of a revenue model. Look at the amount of apps that are given for free today. You take WhatsApp, for example. I mean, the amount of usage and no cost at all. So I think the end user, the government, and the person who is consuming the product will also realize that if he or she want to avail of it or not. Please understand that when you have campaigns which are different, people will always suggest this people versus corporate, whether there's a government nexus, but this is just all mere speculation. The net world over, so many aspects of the internet are not free for all. People used to pay for YouTube or WhatsApp. There could be so many other oppositions to a certain kind of charge.
But isn't that, Shaina, the basic premises of what internet is? Accessibility of everything, which is their argument is that they are using their bandwidth. But if I could come to you, Ms. Parekh, do you really buy Shaina's? And she says that this revenue structure is something which is going to eventually boost competition when it comes to online websites. Ms. Seth?
Okay. Now the point is that I don't see a possibility of good competition coming up. Rather, I think it could be discriminatory, because if there is a small time retailer, an online shopping mall, or it could be any entertainment website, it would not be able to pay as high a cost as the service providers would be taking in order to thrive on the internet. So today it is for a common man. What we are doing on the internet is something that a user decides. He pays for the broadband connection, and he decides what is the amount of time he's going to spend on a particular website, regardless of the fact that he's not tensed about the fact that he'll be paying several times more on a particular website than on another website. So what I mean is that it will probably stifle competition rather than
it is likely to stifle competition, something that the government is currently not coming out and saying directly. Well, there are